Hey love, welcome to the ChiLOVE Radio Show, Pop Radio Worldwide, iHeart Radio, and Spotify Premium. I hope all is well with you. This is Sag season, so it's nothing but Sag love. And we're going to talk about Angela Simpson. She's a Sag. And she has helped me link this segment to shadow work. Because we all have a higher and lower vibrational self within our fleshly vessels. And it is very important for you to know who you are in your high vibrational side and who you are in your lower vibrational side. It's important to know who you are so that you can try to avoid certain triggers, to put yourself in certain situations that may change the rest of your life. It's important to know thyself, people. Now, this happened back in 2009, August 5th. So, Angela Simpson was accused of, she was accused of it, but she admitted to it as well. Burning, beating, stabbing about 50 times, and showing additional acts of torture to this man last name Neely. They said he was this disabled man who was confined to a wheelchair. He was 46 years old. Now, she tortured this man for 3 days. She took a 3-inch nail and smashed it into his brain. She popped a mirror in front of him so that he could see what he did to himself and look at what he made her do to him. Now, that paraphrase is mine, and it's only because I understand. She ripped out his teeth with needle nose pliers. She said that was her favorite act of torture for him. And her prior toothache pain inspired her to transfer that type of pain to this man that she was torturing. She strangled him with a TV cable cord, dismembered his body, and burned it in a trash can. She pleaded guilty to the first-degree murder. She sentenced to natural life plus 14 years in prison. When they found out that she was the one who murdered this man, she was already in custody for a robbery that she committed that same month that she killed him. So, why is she a topic? Because we have plenty of stories of people who are killing and performing heinous acts. Well, yeah, that's part of the reason why she's a trending topic, because of the heinous acts that she performed. There was some serious torture to put a mirror in front of a person so that they can see what you were doing to them, and also be able to see their expressions during those moments. So, I'm on YouTube and I'm looking at a video, and I can't remember what the title was, but it caught my attention. And so I'm listening to the synopsis about this woman, Angela Simpson. And I chuckle a little because I'm like, she sounds like a Sagittarius. Lo and behold, this woman is a Sagittarius. Born at the end of November. So, myself, I'm a Sagittarius, December the 9th. And I could just relate, I could just understand a lot within this video. And it emphasized how important it is to confront, that part of yourself that you might have created to survive, that, no matter how that lower vibrational part of yourself was built up, but it's not serving you, or it won't serve you if you act within that realm. So one thing I liked about her is that she's straightforward. She showed no remorse. And that's something else that the people were saying, like, my God, she shows no remorse. And a lot of times when you hear of somebody committing a heinous act and they show no remorse, they're usually labeled as like psychopath or sociopathic. In this case, the Constitution would consider this a final cause. This is what you call a final cause. Because it's not like she just snapped in her mind. She killed this man because he was a snitch. Now, he didn't snitch on her. He didn't snitch on anybody that she knew. But he was a John of hers. And a frequent John, so they say. And, people do a lot of pillow talking. So she got him comfortable. He's pillow talking. He is telling her how he has snitched on people. And, like laughing, he finds it funny at the fact that he's the reason why these people are in jail for the rest of their lives. Now, Angela, as a person, people have certain belief systems. People have certain codes that they live by. Especially a lot of Sagittarius. You live by a certain code, certain codes. And snitching was a final cause situation. And a final cause situation is, yes, you know that what you are doing is lawfully wrong. Maybe it can probably be argued as morally wrong, depending on which side, the argument is coming from. There is the possibility of going to jail. There is the possibility of dying behind whatever it is, this act that you may take. But you put all that on the table and you are aware that these situations may occur when you make a certain move. And when you still decide to go forth and making this move and taking a person's life, that's a final call situation. You have assessed everything that you could possibly assess on the table. This is not just an emotional decision. This is something that must be done. And in this case, him snitching was a final call situation for Angela. She said that everybody has a reason to kill. Sometimes you just haven't come across that reason. It might be, having to save your own life, you have to kill. Having to save somebody who you love, your mom, your children. She said everybody has a reason to kill. She says, my reason wasn't good to you, but your reason wasn't good to me. And that just goes with perception. That just goes in the category of the art of life. It could be a million people looking at the same picture, and it'll be similar responses, but everybody who looks at that picture will have a certain perspective that's going to jump out to them. And in this case, this was a good reason for her. So she took Neely to her house. She said that she walked him down the street, took him to her house, walked him upstairs, kicked his bleep, and killed him. I mean, she gave the defense and prosecutors, like, she really just did everybody's job for them. That was simple. That's how you know a person is done. It's like, I'm not going to come up with nothing. This is what happened. Then she also commented in her interview how the media said that, he's disabled. He was wheelchair bound. So they're like, oh my God, she made this man walk down the street. He couldn't walk. And she was like, he could walk fucking fine. And she proceeded to say how she took him to his house. Took him to her house. This was actually the first time that she killed. You would think that her being so nonchalant, like she has the air like she does this, that she had previous practice. But this was the first time that she has ever killed. And when they asked her if they thought that justice was done with her sentencing, she said no. She said she feel like she deserved the death penalty because she took a life. In her eyes, Neely took those people's lives that he snitched on. So she carries herself by the same law that she proclaims. That's a lot of like real core Sagittarius type action. When it get like to the bottom line, when you just getting down to the bottom line of things. She said that her being in jail was not much of a punishment. It's not much of a punishment to spend the rest of her life in jail because she has a lot of family in jail. A lot of sisters. Like, this was one of the times in her interview where you actually saw her smile, thinking about her sisters in prison that she just couldn't wait to see. And a lot of people like this when it comes to jail. They got a lot of family members, a lot of friends that became families that's locked up for a very long time. So it's like, okay, yeah, I'll be away from my family on the outside, but I still have my family on the inside. So, that's it's wonderful how even in the most constrained conditions, the mind will find a way to find some type of silver lining. Now, when Angela was little, she was hospitalized at 10 years old. And they said that she has a mental health history. But she doesn't want sympathy for that. And a lot of times, a person's mental health history is included in the defense because it's showing that person's state of mind. And there are times when, due to the person's state of mind, due to their emotional state, those factors can cause that person to snap. But in this case, she's saying that no, her mental illness had nothing to do with this. This was a logical, lucid decision that she made. He didn't just tell her, they weren't just laying in the bed and he bragging or capping, and then she just, blanked out and just killed him right then and there. He had told her a variety of stories. She just waited. She just waited. Sometimes you come across people that's patient like the feds. They just wait. Whole time. Now, although she says that, she has her family and her sisters in prison, she says that jail is horrible. She said jail is horrible. She said that they have no compassion, talking about the COs. They have no compassion. There is a severe lack of necessities there. And she went on to talk about her belief in God. That's why she's not putting it on her mental history. And we have a New Testament and we have an Old Testament. And she's more of a fan of the Old Testament where she believes in that eye for eye. And that's why she expected to die. She said she expected to die, after all of this came out. Because she killed somebody. And as far as, people's opinions about, oh, this was a disabled man, oh, whatever, she doesn't care at all. It is what it is when it comes to other people's opinions. She made the decisions to do what she needed to do, what she felt like she needed to do. And she's standing 10 toes down on it. Even in the face of naysayers. And something that jumped out to me when she was being interviewed was that the interviewer told her how, people snitch, basically people cap, he could have just been capping, just trying to stun in front of her. She said, he could have actually like been innocent of the stuff that he got killed for. And she said, oops, if he wasn't. Because you have to understand, people don't play about certain things. People don't play about certain things. You got to kind of gauge the energy of those that you're around. And I'm talking about push the bullshit level to the side and really see who it is that you're dealing with. Everybody don't accept the same treatment, accept the same behavior. And people feel like there are certain things where their behaviors and their actions make it worthy for them to just not be here. Your liability. She said he picked the wrong end to brag to. And when he was saying there are plenty of people who snitch, this girl calmly asked if he had a list of the people. Why she in her jail uniform? Asking if he had a list of the people that he knows of to snitch. Because that's how serious she is about this. Now, she's a mom of 4. She doesn't talk about her children. But you can see the pain. There's pain there. You can see the pain there in her face when they were brought up. You know. She says she doesn't regret killing him, but she does regret her co-defendant because he divulged so much information about what happened. Now, mind you, earlier I told you that she was already in jail for something else that she did the same month that she killed Neely. So she and a friend did a robbery. And when they both got caught, the friend told everything. She said she regrets letting the wrong people in her life. You have to understand a person whose character stands strongly in loyalty. It's like you could see the disappointment in her little face for people that she thought was with her and then ended up turning against her. And she said she regret letting them into her life, but she wouldn't kill them. And it's because of love. But she chucked the deuces because they out of her life now. She said she should have acted, completely alone. And that's the thing. People want love regardless of how tough they act. People want to be accepted for themselves. And a lot of times when people get hurt and betrayed over and over and over again, that lower vibrational energy of yours starts to grow into a beast, a monster. It starts to make you into a monster. You start to numb up on a lot of things. That's why I talk so much about character. That's why I talk so much about how our energies impact one another. And you know when your lower vibrational self is starting to take over because of the things that's coming out your mouth, because of the actions that you're taking, because of your thoughts, because of the visualizations that you start to have that are not conducive with your higher vibrational side. And at a certain point, if you don't govern yourself and acknowledge that within yourself, it's fuck it. And you're going to have the consequences of that fuck it. It is our responsibility to heal ourselves even when somebody else has broken us or cracked us up. And that's not fair. But in order to save yourself, sometimes you got to change the environment that you're around. Start to fall back on people who are only around with a motive. People who give you them the shots that's making you feel some type of way, that's helping to grow that monster inside of you. Kanye West got a song called Monster. He had 2 mighty Sagittarius on there, Jay-Z and Nicki Minaj. Sometimes you internalize so much pain that it indeed changes you. And that is giving a lot of power over to some people who didn't deserve none of your energy in the first place. None of your energy in the first place. And we got so much going on in this world right now. And a lot of people are feeling a lot of different ways at the same time. So we must be more vigilant about the type of energy that we are accepting. We must be vigilant about processing the energies that's already inside of us. so that we are not throwing it all away. You know, one thing about her that she said, because Neely, he was white, so she did admit that her race was a factor. She don't like snitches. She not crazy about Caucasian people, and she definitely hates cops. And it's like she put that out there, and it's like, this is where I stand on these things. But then she was jovial at times. You saw her being polite, like when the officer handed her something, she was like, thank you. But it was like so crazy because the correctional officers say that like she scares them. Just in her silence, in just the energy. And she let it be known, like, I don't mess with y'all. But at the same time, she not there trying to bump chests with everybody every day. She just like a understanding. It's, you know, it's such a it's so Sagittarius written all up and through here, despite the circumstances of the story, just as far as the characteristics of those born within that astrology sign. And I must say, dear Sagittarius, from a Sagittarius to another, yes, we're the best and no one is better than us. But we also have to nurture our nature. We have little ways about ourselves too. And even though 9 times out of 10, if you see a Sagittarius person coming after somebody, going after somebody, that's because it's everything else, like the being nice to you, trying to walk away, all that type of stuff, like none of it panned out. And we didn't get to a bottom line. Now it's the bottom line. But goodness gracious, I can see how having those bottom lines and moving on it would have psychiatrists and psychologists wanting to make videos on the lack of humanity in your lower vibrational part. And yes, I know people bring you to that point. But dear Sagittarius, we have to still control us. Dear people, all signs, once we start to master self, they say things will get a little easier. It would. I'm not going to say they say. It would get all easier. Can you imagine a world of people who have mastered self-governing and self-regulation? This would be an awesome place to live. But in the meantime, in between time, we got these spirits here that could take you up or take you down. So now we have to be more vigilant about regulating ourselves, regulating our emotions, regulating the type of energy that we allow to impact ourselves. And that's hard for a free-hearted, free-spirited person. Because it's like now you got to always be on guard. So you just stay away. Who wants to be out in a world that you have to be on guard with everybody? But if you're going to take that time to just chill out, stay away, take the time to work on healing. Because moment by moment, this world is moving. Moment by moment, things are happening. And sometimes you feel like you can't take a deep breath from the last thing before the next thing that came upon you. And know that Even if it's in your own little private niche, you still have the power to create some sort of happiness or some sort of beauty, something that will help to feed your higher vibrational side. Even if it's little by little, bite by bite. If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. If you can't crawl, scoot. Rest when you have to rest and reset yourself. Forgive yourself for loving the wrong people. And that's weird for a Sagittarius, because we got really pretty good judge of character. But a lot of people that we didn't let in and let close hurt, you know what I'm saying, cause pain. So now you mad at yourself like you slipping. And see, the world does its little part of tearing you down, but ain't nothing like tearing your own self down, being angry with yourself. Because you could have avoided some things, or you just hate the fact sometimes that you just kept on loving when you was trying not to. But sometimes that's a part of who you are. So you got to accept it. And start to set boundaries. Until people know they can't continue to feed off of you and leave you depleted. Setting those boundaries can prevent a lot of chaos from happening in the future. Because you know who you are. You know how you move. They might not know how you move, but you know. So in order to keep everything copacetic and be on the positive side of elevating and building up, let this be the last year some people see with you, as far as the type of relationship or rapport that you all had before. They say Peter had a bad day and Judas had a bad heart. So we got to know the difference between the Peters and the Judas. Because it's like watching her interviews. I started to just like watch more. And her intelligence, her awareness of thyself, she could have did a lot of great stuff. She could have did a lot of great stuff. And she might actually get her wish, because they're trying to actually give her the death penalty now. And it's like it's crazy when you could still see so much greatness in somebody, and you could tell like her lifestyle, her family, her childhood was not conducive to nurture the part of her and to keep her protected and nurture that part of her that would have really impacted the world some type of way, in a great way. But it's also a message to people like, stop playing. Stop playing. This is real life. Everybody then took being on bullshit and made it a lifestyle. And everybody not playing the game. Get to know thyself. And then get to know who you're dealing with. And we'll deal with you all the next time on the ChiLOVe Radio Show, Pop Radio Worldwide, iHeartRadio, and Spotify Premium. Hugs, love.